Today's recipe calls for watermelon. I'm going to show you how to make a watermelon salad that's tossed in a basil vinaigrette. This recipe is really easy and the salad comes together really fast. It's going to be bursting with a ton of flavors and a bunch of juiciness. So with that said, let's get started.
The first thing we're going to do is start to make our basil vinaigrette in a blender. So the first thing you're going to add to your blender is 2 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar, 1 medium-sized shallot that has been roughly chopped. If you can't find shallot, you can also use red onion. Next, we're going to add 4 medium-sized garlic cloves that have also been roughly chopped. A half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes goes in next. Then we're going to start filling our blender up with our basil. You're going to use 4 ounces of fresh basil. This is the equivalent to about 2 cups of packed basil. Then we'll pour in a little of our extra virgin olive oil and pack the rest of our basil right on top. And start your blender up and start to blend everything together. Then you'll pour in half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. You want to use good oil for this, like avocado or sunflower, something that tastes good, because you want your basil vinaigrette to come out delicious. You don't want to use cooking oil for this. And what I should have done at the beginning was just poured all of our oil in at the beginning, because there's not enough liquid at the bottom of the blender to start the vortex to blend everything together. And I have no lid for my blender. I explained that in my St. Patty's video, so go check that out if you're looking and wondering why I don't have a lid. Then give your vinaigrette the old taste-a-roo and adjust the seasoning as needed using salt and pepper. I threw in a few pinches of salt, then gave it the old mix to incorporate the salt. I found the vinaigrette to be slightly bitter, so I added about a 1/4 teaspoon of honey. You can totally skip this and not add it, but I think it helps balance the vinaigrette even more. You don't want to add too much honey, of course, because you're going to get that natural sweetness from your watermelon. Then blend everything together to finish off your vinaigrette. Now that you have finished your vinaigrette and it has been seasoned to your liking, we're going to throw it in a separate container and hold it in the fridge until we're done making our salad and we're ready to plate up. You'll notice that your vinaigrette is very thick, which is totally fine. You can thin it out if you want with a little bit of water or some extra vinegar, but it helps that it's thick because we're going to get a ton of juices from our watermelon and our tomatoes, which will help thin it out. And the thicker it is, the better it'll coat our watermelon. Then get in there really well with a rubber spatula to get all of that basil vinaigrette out. This way you're not wasting food and it'll be a whole lot easier to clean later. Also, pro tip, rinse your blender out immediately after this. This way the vinaigrette doesn't get all crusty and hard, making it a lot harder to clean if it gets crusty. Now that we have the dressing made, we're going to toast a heaping 1/4 cup of sliced almonds in a dry saute pan. You're going to toast them over medium heat for about 5 to 6 minutes or until they're nice and golden brown. You want to keep a close eye on these because these can easily burn quickly and easily. You can do this in the oven, but there's no reason to heat up the whole house for no reason. You can also skip this step and leave your almonds raw, but toasted almonds are the next best thing since sliced bread. Once they're nice and toasted, we're going to throw them in a quart container and set them aside so we can move on to the next step. You can also use any other type of nut of your choice. The almonds pair really well with watermelon. The next thing we're going to do is start to cut 1 pint of tomatoes. I went with a variety of cherry and grape tomatoes for this. You can do one or the other if you choose. I just wanted a different variety of size and color for our salad. So on the large grape tomatoes, I quartered those, and on the smaller grape tomatoes, I just cut those in half. And if you cut your tomatoes in 4ths, of course you're going to get a higher yield because there's going to be smaller pieces. Burn through and cut all of your tomatoes. And I find it easiest to always use a serrated knife to do this. Makes the cutting process of tomatoes a whole lot easier. This way you're not using a knife like a chef's knife that could potentially smush them, so always use a serrated knife. And the last thing we need to do for our salad is cut our watermelon. I went for about a medium to small size watermelon. I don't think there's a perfect size for this, so find the best watermelon that suits your fancy. Then take a serrated knife and cut off both ends of the watermelon. This way you can stand it up and it won't move on you to cut the rind off. Then cut your watermelon right in half. Best to use a serrated knife for this because you can do a sawing motion, which makes it a whole lot easier instead of using a chef's knife. Now that we cut our watermelon in half, we're only going to need one side, so you can set the other one in the fridge for later. Now you're going to flip it back over on the large cut side, so you have the bottom of the watermelon. You're going to take your serrated knife and start to cut the rind off. Do your best to get in between between the white part and the meat of the watermelon. You don't want to cut too much into your watermelon because of course you're going to take too much of the delicious red part. So take your time and follow the watermelon curvage of it with your serrated knife. I found it easiest to do the serrated knife again for this because you can do the side motion compared to a chef's knife. Then once you have all of your rind cleaned off, you can go back through and clean up your watermelon and get rid of any of the white stuff that you happen to leave behind. Then you can also save your watermelon rinds, make a super old school recipe of pickled watermelon rind, which I didn't and I should have because I've never had it, but one of these days I'm gonna definitely give it a shot. Now that you have your watermelon all cleaned up, you're gonna grab your chef's knife and start making 1/4 inch slices into your watermelon. You want to go for a small size, this way nobody has to dislocate their jaw to eat this salad. Once you have your slices made, you're going to break it right in half to make it easier to work with. Now you're going to start to cut 1/4 inch large sticks of watermelon, and you'll do this same method for the entire watermelon for the salad. Now you have 1/4 inch sticks, you're going to turn it sideways and start to cut the opposite way to make cubes that are about 1/4 inch in size, give or take. Just do your best to ensure that you get everything about the same size. Now awkwardly try to pick it up to throw it all in the bowl at one time, and it doesn't work. This is what your cubes should look like, something like this. And if you're worried about making a huge mess on your work surface, you can throw a kitchen towel underneath your cutting board to catch all that watermelon juice. Then repeat the same method for the other side of your sliced watermelon. Now that we have everything made for our salad, grab your favorite plate, throw down a nice dollop of your basil vinaigrette and give it the old swoosh. Then we can start building our salad, and then try to be all cool and stack your watermelon on top of each other to make like a pyramid or something, and then say forget it and just start dumping watermelon on there. And for the best tasting results, toss your salad together with your vinaigrette. I didn't do that because it just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. I wanted to make it look nice for the video. After you have your watermelon in your bowl, grab some of your cherry tomatoes and grape tomatoes and throw them right on top. Get a few different colors in there just for that sweet aesthetic look. There's no correct amount of how much you should have of each thing. Then we're going to crumble some feta right on top. So you can use as much of one ingredient or less of a certain ingredient if you choose. It's really up to you on how you build this salad. Then we'll garnish with some toasted almonds right on top. Then we'll finish our salad with a small pinch of coarse ground kosher salt. It's really important to always season your salads before you eat them, especially this one, because the salt will help bring out all the natural flavors in our watermelon and tomatoes. And it's done. Now it's time to dig in.
Alright, now that our salad's done, let's give it a shot. It came out nice and aesthetically pleasing. It's super bright and it has a ton of different colors. That green from the vinaigrette is super vibrant, which is awesome. And there's a ton of different colors from all the different tomatoes, and that bright red from the watermelon. Let's give it a shot. Try to get everything in one bite. The first time I heard that tomato, basil, and watermelon all pair well together, I was like, I don't know about that. And then I made the salad and ate it, and I was like, alright, makes sense. This thing is so delicious. It's so fresh and vibrant in flavor. We get that natural sweetness from the watermelon, and then the acid in the tomatoes helps cut through the sweetness. Then we get a full fatty flavor from our basil vinaigrette, and then we get some saltiness from our feta that we crumbled on top. Then the toasted almonds add a nice nutty flavor, and toasted almonds are just delicious to begin with, but it helps round out this whole salad and adds even more texture to this salad. It's super crunchy and super fresh tasting. I can't wait to eat more. Alright, that's it for this video. This recipe is really easy and the salad comes together super fast. This is a perfect summertime salad. It's nice and bright and refreshing for a hot sunny day. And if you're not sure about these flavors coming together, trust me, they do. It's super delicious. And you can add pretty much whatever you want to the salad. Maybe some red onion, or make your basil vinaigrette spicy, because chili and watermelon go really well together. Which next time, I think I'm gonna do that because that sounds delicious. And you can add some grilled protein like salmon or shrimp, maybe even chicken. It's really up to you. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching. And I'm pretty sure that if you do eat a watermelon seed, that it will grow in your stomach. I don't think our parents were lying about that when we were kids. I'm gonna go look it up on the internet. So we'll see you on the next one. Should have measured this watermelon and measured my cabinets so it would fit, because this crouching stuff is not really working for me. Alright, now that our salad is done, let's give it a shot and let's check it out before we dig into it. How about we do that? At first, when I heard Basil. Alright, that's it for today's video. This recipe is really easy, and like I said, the salad came together quick. And if you're not sure about it, you should definitely make it. It's definitely worth it, and I say definitely way too much. Alright, that's it for today's video. The salad is super easy to make and comes together super fast. And if you're not sure about the combinations of all these foods, nothing's said right now.